All right, hi again, beta team. Um, Not really sure where to start on this one, but decided to spend a couple days on XML and try to explain what that's about. Why I chose to spend time on it. XML is stands for the Extensible Markup Language, and it is really not a language. It is more of a specification of how to store data in a text file. And why this is important is it gives us a standard format for storing really any type of information. Basically, if you remember IFF back in the days of Amiga, IFS was the de facto interchange file format, and XML is sort of an IFF for text files, basically. So let's take a look at what it looks like. I'll go into Notepad. And even though it's called a markup language, it does not define any actual commands or functions or any of that sort of thing. It's more of a template, um, and you define your own tags and your own storage. So basically, an XML file is a text file, and you add tags that contain properties and attributes. So you might start with something that looks like body, or it could be called something like dog waffle, something or other, brush settings. I don't know. And that is a tag. Now, everything in between that and the end tag, let's see, and that will be the end tag. The end tag has a little slash there. So everything in between that will be like a block of information, or it could be that could be a tag by itself. But we could go ahead and put some extra tags in here. So this could be like, this is brush settings. We could have like size. We can put a some information in here. Size could be 100, and we close that. Oops. This is case sensitive, by the way. And then we could have something like uh, step, and we end that tag. So each one of these is a tag. You can see what I'm doing here, and and you can add as many of these kind of properties as you want. And this is basically the format of an XML file. There are some other things we can do with this. Say there's a property that needs some extra information with it. Um, Not really sure what. Let's just call it octopus, whatever that tag means. And but we need to know some other things about the octopus, like the color of the octopus. So we'll make this a attribute, and this is in the format of a pair of a name and a piece of data. So the color is 100, 200, 255, or whatever. All right, so that is what an attribute looks like, and it's always part of a tag. And then we'll have the actual value for the octopus, which will be 8, I guess, and we'll end that tag with slash octopus. All right, so that is basically XML in a nutshell. There's a lot more specifics you can get into, but it's a very well-defined standard. It's very simple. It's very verbose, and a very standard as well. Is used throughout the throughout the industry, particularly in the over the internet, in databases, and etc. Um, Nothing complex or hard to understand there. You could basically look at it and read it. It's both human readable and machine readable, which kind of makes it useful. So we'll take a look at how this is implemented in Howler. It's through what we call a VB property stack object. What this does is lets you pair up properties with tags, basically. You give a property a name and a piece of information, and you pop these onto this stack, or you can push them onto the stack and you can pop them back off the stack rather. And I'll give a few examples of that. The reason why this is very useful is it gives us a standard way to store all of our settings files, basically, in the future. And I'll show you what I mean. Let's see. All right. Oops. So I'll go to this serialized thing on the experimental panel. This is just some code I wrote. It saves out an XML file. Then it loads it again and it shows us what the XML file looks like. There's just some tag called doggy woggy and it ends it there. This is sort of a block of information. It doesn't really matter what the information is. There's a dog tag, a cat tag, an octopus tag, a string tag, an array tag. Um, there's a attribute to each of these. In this case, the attribute is the data type. We want to know how the information is stored. So we have integer, long, single, string, byte, array, and that kind of stuff. And there's another attribute called elements. If this is an array, then it tells you the number of elements in the array. And then it actually has a string with each value in the array separated by a space, which can be parsed very easily. And that's basically very simple to understand. Here's a more practical example. This is actually taking all the values of the objects or the controls on the tool panel and serializing them into a property stack object. As you can see, these are the names of the controls. This is called DR button 31. It's not real descriptive. This is, this is code. It saves a data type, which is long, and it saves a value, which is 0. Everything here is 0 except for 1, which happens to be the second one. Not sure why it's the second one, but you can see this one here is selected. It might just be the order in which it read them. For some reason, it's not the first one. Anyways, and it closes those with the end tag, and it as you can see, the tool panel is the name of this block of information. So had this been the some other panel, the brush settings panel, this would have said brush settings, and it would have listed all the properties for the brush panel. And that is basically a very simple way we can take any panel, save out all its data, and save it as an XML file, and then we can recall it later. So basically, we have a means for creating a settings and preset files for any filter we have, any tool panel or anything like that. If we wanted to have settings maintained between instances of the program, or if we wanted to have a program that saves out settings like the paper panel or the particle panel or one of those to save out all the settings, we now have a standard way to do that. I'll go to the end of this. Here we can say now that we've saved out that the parser is now stripping out all but the useful information that we want to actually read. So, and I think on the somewhere in here on the debug, yeah, here on the debug immediate window, you can see these properties have been parsed. The tag dog, the data type integer, and the value itself 100. And here we have an array. That's the name. It has to be a byte array. There's 10 elements, and there's all the elements there. So that shows that it works, and that's basically what we're saying. So that's just a new thing going in under the hood in Howler. And that's about it, really. Thanks for watching, and talk to you later.